The Sam Sorbo Show is brought to you in partnership by the Herzog Foundation.
Sam Sorbo,
Sam, welcome back to the program.
I'm glad to welcome Sam Sorbo.
It's great to have you here.
Hi there, and welcome to this episode of the Sam Sorbo Show. This is a special episode that I just put together on the fly because I think it's important that we talk about the aftermaths of the hurricane in North Carolina, especially in light of the fact that the Biden administration is sending a bunch of our money overseas. It's been clear that FEMA has not been meeting the challenge in North Carolina as we might expect them to. And then we also have all of this drone drama that's happening in New Jersey, in California, in Florida, and in many other states now. People are reporting all of these drone sightings, and there's a lot of mystery surrounding that, which it's very possible that this is just a grand distraction. And so I just thought this episode right before Christmas, I wanted to focus on the people of North Carolina. North Carolina is a state that's near and dear to me. It's where I went to college. And I love the state, and my heart breaks for the tremendous effects that occurred during the hurricanes and the aftermath, in particular, of Hurricane Helene. We're going to focus on the people of North Carolina. We're going to dive into some of the recovery challenges that they're facing, including FEMA, as I said, and we're also going to highlight the pressing needs of the affected communities. And we will provide here for 501c3 donations. My first guest is Elizabeth Johnston. She's a speaker, a grassroots mobilizer. She's also a best-selling author and the host of the Elizabeth Johnston podcast, which I encourage you to tune into. She's a homeschooling mother of 10, my hero, in fact. And for 25 years, she did that, and she mobilized global movements to protect children, which is something that's near and dear to me. So without further ado, Elizabeth Johnston, welcome to the program.
Hey,
There we
Sam,
go.
it's great to be with you.
Well, it's great to see you. So, before we get started with North Carolina, I know you've been working very hard for the people of North Carolina to try to get them some help and some recovery. Let's talk just briefly about you in particular. You came to this. How did you get involved in advocacy and the work that you do? Raising 10 children. Like, how did that segue ever happen?
Well, I never thought my life was going to look like this, Sam. I was the happiest homeschool mom, diaper bag carrying mom, just love homeschooling my children. And they have been the joy of my life, second only to the Lord Jesus. And never planned on having any kind of public following or be a public figure, although I had always been very active in fighting abortion and different pro-life efforts. That's been something that's been very important to me. But I'll tell you, when Obama back in like 2015, 2016 issued the transgender bathroom directive, and we all realized that 200-pound men who claim to be women were going to be able to get away with being in the locker rooms, shower rooms, bathrooms of our little daughters. I said, oh, heck no. What in the world is going on? I don't recognize my country anymore. And I got off of the sidelines and I realized, you know what? Being a homeschool mom doesn't mean that that's all I need to do to protect my kids. Like, I realized that homeschooling my kids wasn't going to be enough. I realized that the radical Marxists were doing everything they could to enter into the family unit and to wreak havoc on the family unit. And so I began to honestly scotch tape my phone to the rear view mirror of my 15 passenger van, Sam, and film videos about what was going on with the radical Marxists and what they were trying to do to families. And my gosh, I never dreamed what was about to happen would occur. I mean, videos would get 15 million, 16 million, 17 million views. It ends up being, book deals and speaking engagements and whatnot. And then I took on Teen Vogue, Sam, when they began to teach children how to sodomize one another in a fashion magazine for teenagers. I filmed a video about that, started
I
a
remember
grassroots.
specifically, and I encourage people to go look that one up. I remember specifically that one. I remember
Yeah.
you doing a Teen Vogue burning, right? In your backyard?
Yes, yes, I burned the magazine in my backyard and said, "This is trash. Get this obscenity out of your libraries, your schools, your grocery stores." And moms and grandmoms began to go into these different areas and demand that Teen Vogue be pulled. And Sam, I was mocked ruthlessly. I was called, blonde Hitler and redneck Barbie and anything, much worse things that I could never repeat on Twitter and whatnot. And 5 months later, Sam, a publication that had been in print ever since I was a little girl went out of print. They printed their last edition because we destroyed them. Just a grassroots um, group of moms and grandmoms, just concerned parents. And my story is just really about the power of average, everyday moms and dads that are willing to take a little bit of flack, stay over the target, get off the sidelines, and get involved in what's going on in our culture because it's a spiritual war and God has given us our children to protect. So it's been a wild ride.
Hi there, I'm Sam Sorbo. I want to talk to you about Apologia, which is a celebrated homeschool curriculum that kindles a lifelong love of learning while also strengthening your child's faith. It's a Christian K through 12 program and it empowers parents to guide their academic achievement and spiritual growth of their child through engaging conversational teaching methods and also hands-on activities. Apologia fosters independent learning and enriches children's educational journey with a strong foundation in both knowledge and faith. So go to apologia.com, and if you use the coupon code SORBO10, you'll get 10% off all non-sale items. Go to apologia.com, check it out. I think you'll like it.
I love how you bring a spiritual element into it. And I also want to reflect briefly on this idea that, Elon Musk freeing the Twitter X space for free thought. I'm sure you were censored on Instagram to a certain degree, but on X, there doesn't seem to be that. And, he's come out now and said, we are the media, you are the media, in fact. And there's no reason you shouldn't be. We've too long been sort of under the thumb of our journalistic betters, and it's time that we took the reins.
Yeah.
And so I commend you. I watched some of that, most of that, and I was just in awe of your ability to you just went to the camera and started talking. And I was always like, wow, I wish I could do that. I don't do those advocacy videos as much as I should. But you're doing
you do,
it.
Sam. Your work is your work is incredible. I have been following you for years. Excuse me. And I respect so much everything you are doing, especially in the educational space. What the public schools are doing to our children is obscene.
Yes. And we're being trained not to object.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so that brings us to North Carolina, where, all of these people who haven't had, they received their training, they might not have ingested it properly, right? They were trained to basically not create an uproar. And I don't think that FEMA saw this coming with the outrage and people just stepping up and getting the job done despite FEMA. So talk to me about how you first got involved and what the situation is.
So when Hurricane Helene hit and we are seeing the devastation on social media, and again, social media, like the mainstream legacy media was actually not really covering this wall to wall.
Right.
And I mean, there are people in other parts of the country who did not even know what was going on. And this is one of the most devastating natural disasters in decades in America. And the media landscape has radically changed, and social media is making a massive impact on the narrative that people are beginning to get. And so, as I'm seeing this footage on social media, Sam, I'm remembering that I know a pastor in the Asheville area. I live in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. And I've spoken at a couple of his conferences before. And so I reached out to Pastor Sergio of AVL City Church. And I said, "Hey, how are you guys doing?" And he said, "It's devastating, Elizabeth." And I said, "Oh my gosh." I said, "Send me a list of what your greatest needs are. I'm going to see if I could possibly raise some money." I had no idea. I have a nonprofit. I had no idea if this was going to resonate with the country. And so I put out some posts, and oh my gosh, Sam, it blew up. People have been so incredibly generous. Tens and tens and thousands of dollars have come into my nonprofit, and we began to take trips. And my church jumped on board, my amazing church, Joy Church here in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. And we began to take trips of supplies, heaters, and then my church jumped on board, and we began to go with chainsaws and generators and gasoline. And we would start cleaning up these yards of elderly people who were living on Social Security. And $750? Are you kidding me? This is what this is what Kamala and Biden were offering these people who had whole trees through their roofs, and they were
As a
offered
loan.
750.
The
A loan.
750 was as a loan.
I mean, we were out there. I have
So you had to
my elderly
apply.
pastor. Yeah.
You had to apply for the loan, you had to get confirmed for the loan, and I heard one
Yeah.
story, it was the mayor's daughter, if I remember correctly, who applied, and she wasn't approved. She was approved for, like, $450 for her lost vehicle or something like that.
Well, I just interviewed Lisa Bevere on my podcast, and she said she had just spoken with a single mom, or a woman who knew a single mom there who did not get approved for her $750, but her friend, who is probably wealthy, who has a second, like, vacation home in Asheville, gets approved for her money. And so her friend said, "I'm not taking this money. I'm giving it to the single mom who didn't give the money." So you know how it works with government and red tape. We, the people, are the ones getting the job done. The church of the living God are the people who are getting the job done. I have been there on the ground 4 times. My church has been more times than that. And I have seen what's going on. Let me tell you, the only time I've seen FEMA was the first time we went, which was like not even 2 weeks. I think 1 week after the disaster hit. And all I saw FEMA doing was flying around in helicopters, and it was a dead body recovery. They were getting dead bodies. And other than that, it has been the people, the locals, the churches, semi trucks coming in from all over the nation. And the churches and the pastors are the one mobilizing these centers, these distribution centers in parking lots of
Right.
people's businesses and churches. And people will drive through, and we will load up their cars with supplies, heaters, baby supplies, food, and the things that they need to get by. I don't know if you realize that around the Asheville, Chimney Rock, Boone area, it's like 30% of the economy is based on tourism. And so the tourism came to a screeching halt. Obviously, it was not safe and things were not open. I mean, Walmarts were closed. Boone Walmart is just reopening 3 months later, Sam, because it was
That's
underwater.
that's
And
incredible.
so the
Because let's,
devastation because of the
just
tourism
park there for just a minute. Walmart just reopened. So it's been
in Boone,
months.
3
It's
months.
been since the people
Yes.
who shop at Walmart for their groceries could go grocery shopping. Like, let's put this into real
Right.
context for people to understand.
Yes.
You might have lost your home and you have no way of getting any food or heat.
Right. I mean, you could have lost your home and your job because the tourism is no longer there.
Right.
Or maybe you didn't lose your home, but you've lost your job. So maybe you actually have a home that may or may not have power, that may or may not have heat. The pipes might be frozen, because winter, but you might have a roof over your head, or you may be living in a tent. And whether or not you have a job is super questionable. And so I can't describe the level of devastation there. And I just read that some reports are that it is a loss of up to 53 billion, a recovery effort of up to 53 billion. And when I read 53 billion, that number, and that is almost the exact number that Biden's administration just approved to go to Ukraine, I just thought, God, deep breath. Help me right now, because these people, I have witnessed with my own eyes their devastation. And we were just there this Sunday for a huge Christmas outreach, and to see the gratefulness on these people's faces as they took bicycles away for their children, heaters, all types of household items that we had there that they can't get in local stores right now. It was such a beautiful outreach, Sam. And I'm just so proud to be an American, if I'm honest, right now, watching this over the last 3 months, because the American people have shown up in such a beautiful way. And it just shows you that, you know, we can do it together. Get some supplies together for yourself. Make sure you got 3 months of supplies for your own home. Get your house in order. Put that money aside so that you can get the things that you need for a crisis, because we should not be sitting around trusting the government to rescue us in times like this.
But we're taught in school that we should trust the government, Elizabeth.
Yeah, right. Yes, they have
Yeah.
created some really good obedient little Marxist robots in
Yeah.
the public
They're writing
schools for
checks they
sure.
can't cash, right? Uh,
Yes.
how are how is the psyche of the relief workers, the people who are volunteering their time and energy, how are they doing? Do you know?
I don't know how they're holding up. In the beginning, it was nonstop. It was every day, all day. And now and it was that way for probably 2 straight months, especially in the Swannanoa area, Chimney Rock. And now the church that I'm working in is, starting to slow that constant relief effort. And they're actually, what I witnessed on Sunday, they are getting phone numbers, addresses, how many people are in your family. They are trying to develop long-term strategy now to help the people rebuild. And so I was glad to see them finally reaching a place where they were getting contact information for all of the people coming through so that they could continue to minister to them and provide relief. It is just it's a very uh, it's just a constant changing, rebuilding effort. And it's been beautiful to watch, but I don't know how they've held up. The lady on Sunday told us, guys, she said, take a break. Like every hour, make sure you take a break, come inside, take a breather, take care of yourself, put the oxygen mask on yourself so you can help the others, because it's overwhelming. And I'll never forget the first time I went down. Sam, I've never been in a war zone before. All right. And I'm not a prepped military person. And so to go into that situation untrained, unprepared, and to see the helicopters, picking up body bags, it is a lot for an untrained citizen to witness. And it was like a war zone. And the rebuilding effort continues. And so I don't know if you're providing some kind of donation link for your listeners. We continue to take in donations at my nonprofit, but there's so much work to be done, especially when Biden continues to send billions of dollars to the Ukraine.
Yeah, so let's talk just quickly about the shift now in the administration and also the shift in attitude that we are about to see. I know JD Vance has shown up to help support relief efforts in North Carolina,
Yeah.
and of course the president, the incoming president, is very pro America, putting Americans first. Do you
Mm.
see what are your expectations?
Oh, I expect that things will shift for sure for North Carolina, no question about it. Did you see the story where a FEMA worker was caught um, instructing those underneath her that she was in charge of to skip the homes that had Trump signs? This was during the
Yes.
election.
So
This was a
FEMA, yeah,
huge story.
that just blew up on social media. And the idea with
Yes.
you are the media now is the fact that we can uncover these
Yes.
seemingly small but
Mhm.
very meaningful things. We uncover and we expose them. And of course,
Yes.
sunlight is the best disinfectant. So yeah, I did see that the directive
Yes.
was if you see a Trump sign, go ahead and skip that house because because half the country has been made to feel threatened by anything Trump related,
Mhm.
threatened and physically threatened.
Right.
And that is, that's a
Right. The
psychosis.
narrative was that those people were terrorists.
Right. It's a
Yep,
psychosis
sorry
that's
to
been
speak over you.
applied to people. And the idea that people are
Mhm.
so gullible as to feed into that, which that's where it gets a little bit wonky, is that people are that gullible that they believe that. And so the reverse is also true. I don't know if you just saw, but President Trump gave a press conference yesterday that was insightful, among many other things, brilliant. And one of the things
Mm.
that he was asked is RFKJ going to uh, get rid of the polio vaccine, discontinue the polio vaccine.
Mm.
And Trump said, I think he'll be a lot less radical than you believe. And that's true because they are so radical, they believe everybody else is radical. Does that make sense?
Yes. Right.
So
The ceiling
we
becomes the
do have to
floor,
combat
and
that.
they have conditioned us. Yes, yes, for sure. I'm a non-vax mom myself here. We did our research early on and saw that, there were a lot of risks and, um, believed in parents being educated. That's really the main thing is educate yourself, make an informed decision as a parent. And I believe in parental rights. And what we see with patients getting fired, children not being able to even be in pediatric practices if they don't have a gazillion vaccinations their first couple of years, which is incredibly unhealthy and something that has never been forced on little children's bodies until very recent decades. The thought that you would be fired for practice and stuck with not even being able to know what kind of physician you can find. In many cities, you can't find a physician who will not fire you if you are not vaccinated, Sam. And
You know,
so this has been a crisis for many, many free thinking parents for decades now. And it will be a tremendous improvement to have RFK Jr. a part of this next administration.
and I think he will be a lot less radical than people think, because
Yeah.
the government is a behemoth and it's the Titanic, and you can't just move it that quickly. Although we all hope that it can move very quickly now, we'll see. But I don't think he's going to take on that. That's too big a bite, in my estimation. Certainly with polio, which has been around for a very long time, and it's sort of the holy grail of vaccines. So we'll see. But the newer vaccines with their new compositions is something that absolutely must be looked into. I was going to say, I have a new litmus
Completely
test
untested.
for my doctors that
Mhm.
I've decided I'm asking
Mm.
every doctor who treats me, unless it's like an emergency and I don't have the time to, uh, be that discerning. But I ask them how they feel about the pro-life issue. And if they're not pro-life, I just say,
Mm.
well, you can't be my doctor. Sorry.
That's good,
It's
Sam.
really that simple,
Really
right?
excited about Yeah, I'm really excited about Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy beginning to signal defunding Planned Parenthood, which is something that is a no-brainer. The fact that almost 400,000 babies are killed through Planned Parenthood every year, still, even post Roe v. Wade, and the fact
Well,
that
it's
$700
I don't
million, Sam.
yeah, let me just point out, and yeah, duly noted, uh, abortions have
Mhm.
increased since Roe v. Wade because they have the
Mm.
pill,
Mm.
and they can send the pill in the mail
The pill.
with absolutely no assurance of who it's actually going to serve. So
Right.
abortions have actually
Right.
increased.
And to think that the 700 million taxpayer dollars goes to fund this organization, which has literally been caught red-handed, selling body parts illegally, children's body parts to, science, is just truly unthinkable. It's one of the most
It's
corrupt organizations in America,
it's
and this is a
phenomenal.
no-brainer that they should be defunded.
Not only has that, like, we have the video. It seems to be,
We do.
without a doubt, it's proven, right? And yet nothing
Yep.
happened except the guy who made the videos had to go to trial.
David, and guess who went after him? Kamala Harris when she
Kamala
was
Harris.
AG, when she
Yeah.
was Attorney General. Yep.
And
She went after David, who was the
she's planning on
undercover.
running back in California now. She's gonna run for governor
Have
as a lead
mercy.
up to running for president. Please, please, will she run for
Again.
president next time, please?
Yeah, we'll make sure that doesn't happen again.
Elizabeth Johnston, where do
Yeah,
you wanna
but
send
really
people?
excited about that.
Yeah.
Okay. ElizabethJohnston.org is my website, and that
And this
has
Johnston with
all
a
the
T, and we'll put
links.
it in the show notes
Yes,
too.
yes,
That's
right,
awesome.
and
It's
it
great to
links
see
to
you
my
again.
podcast. Thank you so much, Sam. God bless you. Thank you for all you do.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the Sam Sorbo Show.
Hi there. So for years, I've been harping on the problems in our schools and the fact that most of our government schools, our factory schools, have been overrun by this progressive ideology that is really at war with our traditional American values, our Judeo-Christian values. And parents have finally started waking up more and more, which pleases me to no end. But they're worried about what to do. They are not sure which way to turn, and that's why it gives me great pleasure to announce my continuing partnership with the Herzog Foundation. So the Herzog Foundation is a trusted source for K through 12 Christian education. They have a really remarkable suite of resources for parents and for families. They have an online publication known as The Lion and a network of podcasts, including mine. So they can offer a wide range of advice and information for Christian parents to make the best decisions regarding the education of their children and the values that they instill in their children. And so if you want to find out any more about this remarkable organization, just go to herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com. Thanks so much.
All right, so welcome back to the Sam Sorbo Show. This is a special edition that I'm just throwing together while I'm traveling to bring to you some updates on the situation in North Carolina just ahead of the holiday. We can all be very grateful for the things that we have in our lives, especially when we see what's happening to other people. And I think it's important to take a look around ourselves and see where we might be useful, because that's what brings true joy to our lives. And so joining me now is the man I met at Excel College when I visited the school a while back. I've had him on the show before. He's the head of campus life at Excel, where he and his wife, Charity, have been since 2017. Excel College is, well, you know what? I'm going to allow him to explain it to you, but they have two lovely little boys that they're raising with the whole crew there over at Excel. Welcome to the show, Andrew Chambers. And here we go. Okay. I'm doing all the tech myself right now. So it's great to see you, Andrew. And you guys are right in the thick of it in North Carolina, where Hurricane Helene just wrought terrible devastation. Talk to me first before we go into that. Just give us a brief summary of Excel College. I didn't want to do it any injustice. Our visit there was really exceptional, what you guys are accomplishing.
Yeah, thanks so much, Sam. So 30-second version. We think healthy people build healthy families, build healthy communities. And our goal is that when students graduate, they're wise, mature, and productive, ready to follow Jesus into a flourishing life. And so we do that through a biblical liberal arts curriculum to provide worldview, apprenticeships so that they can actually participate in the marketplace and culture. And then they graduate debt-free. They're working the whole time throughout the program. And they do all of this within a thriving Christian community so they can learn to do life together like we think God made us to do. So,
Yeah, so I'll just let people know that I visited. We attended I think it was the Friday night service, which
Yeah.
involved worship music and a great sermon, a fantastic sermon. And then we attended some classes. Oh, it might have been a Thursday, then Friday,
Yeah.
something. We attended some classes, seminar style classes, which I truly appreciate. It's sort of, you build it to me as kind of a continuation of classical conversations, which in a sense it is. And the dorms are not dorms, they're houses
Yeah.
for the most part. So you guys, you've got it's a small campus. It's in the hills of North Carolina.
Yeah.
What proximity were you to the worst of the flooding, I guess, from Helene?
Yeah. So, well, let me just say this. So we're on the crest of the ridge. We're in Ridgecrest neighborhood. So all the water east of us flows to the Atlantic Ocean. All the water west of us flows to the Gulf of Mexico. The town on the mountain on the bottom east of us, Old Fort, was completely destroyed. The town to the west of us, Swannanoa, was completely destroyed. That's where President Trump came in. We're like 3 miles from Swannanoa, and we're probably 3 to 5 miles from Swannanoa, 5 from Old Fort, and then Black Mountain had a ton of damage as well. We had trees down on our campus, but because we're on the crest of that ridge, all the water literally flowed down from us. And so we were in the epicenter of it. But as a campus able to still function, we lost power and electricity and water for over a week. We had to use wells with generators to get water for all of our students. It was a pretty intense time.
But obviously, you as you said, the water basically came down on you, but then drained away.
Yep.
But that's, you're sitting between two cities or two towns that have basically been washed away. How do you get groceries? How do you get food?
Yeah. So it took over a month in Black Mountain for our grocery store to open back up. But then in our case, we actually acted as a distribution center for the whole region. So we had semi trucks coming in every other day, bringing food, water, and supplies. And so we were able to, and we had volunteers coming in and cooking. So we actually became a volunteer relief center. And so that's actually how we did food for about a month and a half. And then we partnered with some great organizations and ministries that have been helping out since then.
How quickly were you getting food deliveries after the aftermath, after people walked around and said, "Oh my gosh, there's no town here. We can't get groceries." How quickly did you start receiving things?
Yeah, it was pretty dicey there for a little bit. So when I say we had no water, I mean the water was off. And so within 24 hours, we had a friend from Adventures Relief brought up generators to help get our wells going. And then we had a semi truck from Blessings of Hope come down from Pennsylvania. They showed up within 48 hours.
Wow.
And then on that same day,
Now,
we received
how did
7
they know
helicopters.
I'm sorry. How did Blessings of Hope know to go to you?
My sister-in-law up in Pennsylvania just knew to send them my way. And then we had built, so this wasn't up when you were here, Sam, but we had built a 3,500 square foot structural tent that was going to be used for our gatherings because we outgrew that center that you came to. And it was sitting completely empty. It just got built 3 weeks before this thing hit. And so one of our students gave my phone number to the United Cajun Navy. They're a relief organization. And they called and they said, "Do you have space?" And that was 24 hours in. And we said, "We do." And they said, "Okay, we've got semis coming your way." And they just started sending semis our way. And we had 100 students that were without jobs and could start unloading and distributing. It was a total God thing.
So without jobs because their jobs were washed away.
Yeah. And so if you don't know us, you don't know them. Working is half of our model.
Right.
And overnight, 90% of them lost their jobs. The only one that still had jobs were working at the Cove, which is where Samaritan's Purse was based out of when they came in. And so we went from a college with students in the marketplace to doing relief and students working in relief for the whole pretty much first 2 to 4 weeks of this thing. So
That that would be quite the college experience, frankly,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
right, to just be involved, and especially as that is the college's, you heard the mission statement, that really feeds into the mission statement right there. And so you've given all these kids this incredible experience, but not only that, you've blessed the community that needed it. The idea that you built the tent just in time,
Literally.
like I got goosebumps. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, there's a God
Wow.
thing right there.
It's a God thing.
Yeah. So you received some kind of relief within 48 hours, which is exceptional. And then you were
Mhm.
able to bless the surrounding community. How is the community doing now?
Yeah. One of my bosses said something like, if God can get it through you, he will get it to you. And we really experienced that. I mean, because they shut down. I don't know if you knew this. We were in a bowl. So they shut down I-40 on both sides. They
Well,
shut
that's
down
what I was going to ask you. I know that they shut roads. I know that
Yep.
they purposely blocked roads, which we're still trying to sort through, right? The thought behind that.
Mhm.
But so how did the trucks get through to you? Do you know?
Well, so that large landslide that you see on Fox News that closed down I-40, that was a quarter mile from us. And one of my students took that picture with a drone. And so it took 5 days to get that cleared. And then they were only letting essential vehicles come through. So we were just telling everybody, like, tell them you're with us, you come through. And then Chris Horvath with Adventures Relief, he had come down to help. He had gotten in while the hurricane was still hitting to help get a mission team that they had up here out. And when he did that, he saw the mountain roads that were not destroyed and that still had, and they didn't have landslide damage. And so he marked those on a map. And so we were able to direct people how to get to us. And then day 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, we were getting helicopters all day long. And so the main way people got to us was helicopters. And then we were having semis that it would take them 5 hours out of their way, but they'd have to go up these mountain passes to get down through there. So it was, yeah.
The helicopters, because I remember a large parking lot field. Were they landing right there?
No, they were landing right down the street at Ridgecrest Boys Camp. And so we were sending
Okay.
little Polaris vehicles and trucks down there to grab everything and bring it back our way. So
Really quite exceptional. So what is the mood now that sort of surrounds your area?
yeah, I would say that, it depends on who you talk to. And honestly, I would depend on faith orientation a little bit. I'd say there's a lot of hope. There really is a lot of hope. And what I found is, everyone knows we didn't get much help from the government. Like, I think FEMA showed up day 9. And it just is
You know
what
what?
it is.
Park there for just a minute.
Yep.
Talk about FEMA. Just your experience with FEMA.
Yeah. There's a lot of rumors out. And I actually didn't have much experience with FEMA. They came to base one time, I think, like day 11 or 12. And I kind of asked them and I said, hey, we've pushed out 2 million pounds worth of supplies so far, and we're doing this day in and day out. There's rumors out that you're going to shut people down. Like, are you guys shutting us down? And they said no. All of our people got denied aid and we didn't get any money or anything.
You
But
didn't
we
get
had-
the $750 that the government
No.
was. Now you broke up. You pushed out how much food?
Over 2 million pounds of food, water, generators, like sleeping bags, tents. I mean, you name it, anything survival related, we pushed it out. Do you know Mercury One, JP Decker?
I saw Glenn Beck touring around and doing some videos there.
So they sent us over 125 generators that we were able to actually go out and help people get their RV set up that they were staying in, or get their home staying up. No, I can't say enough about those guys. Honestly, it was everything, because in a disaster, a lot of people come and say they're going to do a lot of things. And you kind of learn who's going to show up and who's going to deliver. And everything those guys said they were going to do, they did. And they've sent materials for 25 houses. We got 14 people back in their home before Christmas. The goal.
Sorry, you broke up again. It's frustrating because the connection seems to be wonky, but I want to make sure we're covering this.
Yeah.
So Mercury One lived up, went beyond what you thought they were going to do, and provided so much help. And then this last thing that you said.
Yeah, so they've provided, in addition to all the immediate relief supplies, they've also provided materials for 25 homes. And we've already gotten 14 people back in their home before Christmas time. We've got a partnership right now with Adventures Relief, Operation Blessing, and World Vision. We just built a 12,000 square foot warehouse to house supplies, and we're committed to doing 200 plus homes in the next 2 years. And we formed
What
a
is
coalition.
doing? Sorry, define doing. We're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. So, okay. So, essentially getting homeowners back in their homes, which means getting the homes back up to code. And so, and a lot of times you start with you go out and you do damage assessments, then you muck and gut, which means muck and gut means like if the water level was 4 feet high, you have to take everything from drywall and insulation 4 feet and below out because it's going to get mold. And then you have to, and all the flooring, you have to take all that out. And then you have to start again from there, and you have to replace any mechanicals, HVAC. So what we do is we go in and we help homeowners we get donated materials, which Mercury One, World Vision, those guys have been helping with. Then we have volunteers who Adventures is managing. And then we have a volunteer base to stage all this out of. They come in and they help the homeowners get the muck and gut done. And then they get everything needed for the homeowner to get back in their home. That usually looks like flooring, insulation, drywall, appliances back. And the goal is to get them back in their home and with at least a bathroom, smoke detectors, all the things for the home to get back up to code. So.
Right. So the drywall, if the drywall gets wet, and by the way,
It's over.
To clarify for people, we're not talking about rainwater.
No.
This is sewage water that that often is becomes problematic, right? So it's not enough to just sort of dry it out. You've got some very bad germs that are included in all of this. And so the muck and gut is really taking it down to the studs, drying out the studs as best you can, disinfecting everything, and starting over again. And so the idea that you're so Andrew Chambers, who used to work for Excel College, like what's happened to your real job?
Yeah, well, that's something that we're navigating right now because we are still a college. And so, our students, I'm so proud of them. They did the fall incredibly well. Obviously you're tired. So there's no one's perfect. So there's some complaining and everything, but for the most part, honestly, handled it so well. And they literally went from, some of our students arrived 2 weeks before this happened. The new ones did. And so their first experience with us is it rained for 10 days straight and then a hurricane. Yeah. And they really led the way in emptying semis, taking trucks out into the community, doing wellness checks on the elderly, going to places that didn't have bridges and taking food and water. It was incredible, giving up their parking spaces on campus so we could have medical tents. And so,
and to clarify, nobody signed up for this.
No. And they're not disaster workers. They're students.
Right. And it does take a special kind. I just spoke with Elizabeth Johnston, who traveled down with her church, and she'd never been to a war zone, she said, and she of course likened it to being in a war zone. Yeah. And just the image I could tell of watching them take the bodies away, helicopter bodies out, is profoundly hard, I guess.
Yeah.
And so these are young kids, new college recruits, so 18, 19 maybe, 17 maybe, right? And they're just living through this. Wow.
Yeah. And that's been one of our big pushes is to start saying okay, we're going to hand over the rebuild efforts to the volunteers and the professionals. So we're moving a lot of that off site to that warehouse that I mentioned, and then allowing our 99% of them have their jobs back now. And they got back in class 3 weeks in, we got jobs back. And so now we're navigating back to normal life. And so, we have our campus Christmas party tonight. We did a big Christmas thing for the community on Sunday. So it's just by January, we're hoping, all of that is kind of off campus and we're doing a reset while still for the volunteers that they get, allowing them to go and experience helping rebuild the community, but allowing them to be college students again. It's going to be huge because like you said, they didn't sign up for this, they didn't sign up to be disaster workers. So really, really proud.
But there are also job opportunities moving forward in any case.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And a lot of the disaster organizations are hiring, but then we're seeing a lot of businesses come back. I'm really proud to say, we raised $60,000 to buy gift cards from our local Black Mountain businesses that a lot of our students work at to give them to disaster workers and first responders, because they missed October, which is the busiest month of the year. I mean, you've been here, like it's dead in the wintertime, and in October is leaf season.
Yeah.
And so our hope is that not a single business in Black Mountain will close, whereas in Asheville, there's a lot that are closing, so.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's encouraging news, and I appreciate that. Will you send us photos from the Christmas party, please?
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
All right. Any last thoughts you want to leave with the viewers before we go?
No, I just want to tell people, like, there is a lot of hope here because people are being the hands and feet of Jesus. We're not waiting on government to do it. We're like, we saw the church show up, like, unbelievable. And I literally had people say that I left church a long time ago, and this is making me rethink things. And so don't forget about us. It's going to take a while to rebuild. We're committed to the next 2 years. But there is hope, and the people of God are doing the thing. And so, come and see and come volunteer and help out. So.
Yes, that's also a great idea is to go ahead and be the hands and feet yourself. But if you can't, you can always make a donation. We'll have donation links in the show notes on the episode. And our prayers go out to the community. And I love the fact that you point out, and Elizabeth Johnston did this also. I think there's a great lesson in all of this is, man tends to rely on man. And there's a reason that we should rely on God. And it's because God moves through men to provide the help and resources that we need. But he doesn't really move through government so much. Did I say that out loud? That just came to me, right?
Well, I'll tell one story on that. So day 3, we had generators, and they're providing water for us, which you need water to live, right? And food to cook and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, we've got this. And then I look, and we're running out of gas. And gas is what powers the generators. And I'm like, God, we need gas. And so I'm literally calling every possible person I know, begging for gas, because you go through 12 to 15 gallons a day, and you've got to have, generators for power. So we've got like 6 generators going, 12 to 15 gallons per generator. And I'm begging everyone for gas. And everyone's like, we can't get in there. Like, I don't even know how we're going to get you gas. And I said, God, we need gas, like gas, help us. And the next day, this guy shows up with 300 gallons of gas. And then the next day, another guy shows up with like 800 gallons of gas. And it's just like the amount of stuff that you see where God can do that stuff in these types of situations is really incredible. And we can sit here all day and talk about those stories.
I love it. And I think it gives people hope. And I would like to point out that the guy who had the gas had a thought that he should bring the gas to you. Yeah. And we often think that we think our own thoughts, but I would put to you that God's in charge of your thoughts, actually, and can insert thoughts into your head that would not occur to you otherwise. And that's very clearly what happened is those individuals thought, maybe they need some gas over there. I'll take my gas there. That's just incredible. Yeah. What a lovely testimony. And how blessed you are to be able to experience this up front and center, Andrew. It's great to talk to you.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
All right. And I encourage you guys, check the show notes for all the information, and do give generously to help the people who are still suffering, and just the people who are helping them recover. All these people can use your contributions. So, all right. So that's it for me. This is the Sam Sorbo Show. Thanks for tuning in. Check the show notes, and Merry Christmas. We'll see you next time.
The views and opinions expressed in the Sam Sorbo Show are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views and positions of the Herzog Foundation.